What's up guys, welcome to the channel. Today you're here to hear a review about the LENSKINS ND filters. I got them on Amazon, you can probably get them elsewhere, but that's what you're here for. So I'm going to take you through the whole testing process, how I evaluated each of these, because I tried to be as scientific as I possibly could, just to make it accurate, just to provide you with the comfort knowing that they were tested to the best of my ability and just to know that they were tested properly. So I'll go through all the testing, you'll see all of it, and then at the end I will do side-by-side comparisons of each of the filters so you can see them on the same screen at the same time, which I think will be beneficial. And then at the very end, I will say if I recommend these or not. Now, keep in mind that this is from the point of view of an FPV pilot, not a photographer or a videographer. So just remember that. Without further ado, cue that intro. Hey, what's up guys? So today we're going to be reviewing some ND filters that I got on Amazon. And in this case, they're the LENSKINS set of ND filters. It's not even branded, so you know they're good. I am not being paid anything to do this. I have nowhere near the amount of subscribers or views to get that yet, but hopefully soon. So this set comes with 4 different filters. First you have the CPL filter. I'm not really sure what that stands for. But then it comes with an 8, a 16, and a 32 ND filter. And the mount that it comes with is this guy here. It kind of hooks around the back of the GoPro. It just fits on the front like that. So they just stick magnetically onto this front face here. Not quite sure how I feel about that yet, but we'll get more into that later. So the quad we're using today, you guys haven't seen this one actually fly yet. It's always been broken on my channel. So we got a Lumenier QAV R2, had this for quite a while. Just put a new VTX on it, so that's why you haven't seen it. We have the GoPro Hero 8 Black, that'll be the camera that these are going on. And in an attempt to make this as scientific as possible, we're gonna be shooting this a certain way. So we're gonna be doing 30 FPS frame rate, 1/60 shutter speed, a fixed shutter speed, not auto, because I want to have this apples to apples as scientific as possible so you can see exactly what these filters do in relation to one another. The ISO value will be capped at 100, so that will not be changing at all, and then no stabilization. So hopefully doing those things will provide the best comparison for all these filters. I don't really know a better way to do it. And then also, all of this will be shot in 2 different locations. Right now I'm in a darker environment, like in the woods. So we're gonna shoot here first and get some footage. And we'll do that for all 4 filters, plus with no filter at all. Then after we're done here, we're gonna go to a little bit brighter location. It's kind of a little bit of a cloudy day here in the mountains, but we're gonna do our best. I basically just wanna get a darker versus a lighter environment to see how that affects the exposure levels. All right, so first impressions on these things. I'm not the biggest fan of the mount. I kind of wish maybe it came with like a full case instead of just the corner mount here. It's not that I don't think this mount is rigid, it's that I think the filter is not going to stay on there very tight. Now we'll see if anything pops off today. I kind of doubt it will, because I'm going to take it pretty easy just to get some sample footage, but my first impression is I don't love the mount on these filters. The filters themselves look fairly robust. I think the edge here must be metal because it's magnetic, so that's a good thing. The lens itself appears to be a fairly high quality. I kind of also wish there was a ND4 filter in here instead of the CPL. I don't even know what the CPL does. We're gonna find that out today, but I think for a situation like this, a lighting situation, I think an ND4 filter would be probably about right. It's not really bright, but I think it's a little bit too bright to use the 1/60 shutter with no ND filter, but we'll see when we get to the flight video. They come in a nice little case. Case is pretty decent. That's magnetic. Works fine. The price on Amazon, I think, was about between $48 and $50. So I've noticed that all of these ND filters, they are quite expensive, unfortunately. I think that's just how it goes with this sort of product. So expect to spend that much. We will see if they're worth it. They appear to be decent so far, but again, I just don't like that mount. That's my main gripe with it right now. The other thing is, because it's not a full mount, I have to have my naked GoPro on here. So for something like a freestyle video, or when you're doing a bunch of acro stunts, especially in proximity stuff, this is not what I'd want. I would want a full case either from this company for this ND filter, or a TPU case that can accommodate these filters. That's certainly doable, and the one I'm having made might even fit it. I'm not sure, but that's just my initial thought here. It needs, I don't like the naked GoPro here. You really need something for freestyle if that's what you want to do. Before I start flying here, the path we're going to take, it's going to be the same exact path for all of the filters, both at this location and at the next location that's a little bit sunnier. So we're going to go from all the way to the end there where it starts to curve way in the distance, and then we're going to go all the way to the other side. Same exact path. I'm going to try and start and end the same way, so maybe I'll start going left, go all the way right, and then come back and land. I want this to be as apples to apples as possible. I can't stand the videos out there that try to compare products, but they don't do it scientifically. It drives me nuts. So we're going to try and do our best to make it as scientific as possible. I know I've said that 1,000 times already, but it's important to me. It means a lot, and I think you guys will appreciate it too. Okay, so just so you guys believe me, just so we're crystal clear exactly what we're doing here, I'm going to go over my settings here. First, we got the 4K 30S, I don't know, I think that's super view. So 4K 30 super view, hyper smooth will be off. Let's see what else. Bitrate high, shutter speed 1/60, no EV compensation. We're gonna set white balance. We should probably set that to a fixed. Let's just go with a little bit cooler look today. So we're gonna do 4,000 Kelvin white balance. ISO min 100, ISO max 100. Sharpness high, color flat, no audio. Think we got everything. What is this? That's color. Okay, super view. Okay, I think that should cover it. We're gonna be using that for all of these tests. Okay, our first test will be with no filters, no CPL, no ND, just naked. Going down, slowing down, and we're turning around. We're gonna go to this tree and back. Okay. In between these tests, I'm going to clean off the lens if necessary. It was a little bit dusty. And now we're going to throw on the CPL. CPL filter, let's go. Same path. This is kind of fun. I haven't done much of this style of flying. Down to that tree and back. CPL is coming off. 8 is going on. Wipe it off a little bit. Really resisting the urge to do an eject here. Spang! Okay, so we're halfway through. So what are some of my thoughts so far? Well, first of all, I really like how easily these go in and out, or on and off, whatever, of the camera. It's really quick. It's really easy. I like that. I like that a lot. It's made this whole process simple. They seem to be holding pretty well so far. And again, I'm not doing anything crazy. I'm just going up and down a road. So Jesus, I sure hope they would hold on for that. And again, I don't recommend doing a whole lot of acro with these or running into stuff unless you get a case that can hold this filter on, because I seriously doubt that this would suffice if you're doing crazy bando action. So something I don't like so far, I really don't like this case, and I don't like it for a couple reasons. It just feels cheap, like it's gonna break. Like, I don't know, these hinges they just don't feel the best. And you can see, like, there's some defects around the edges. It just, it just doesn't look all that clean. I think this is all from manufacturing, maybe from putting these pins in. You got those little marks there. Don't love that. The other thing I don't love is, while they do fit fine, like just in the envelope of the case, they don't really sit onto these little ledges very well. It's a very narrow, if you can see that, narrow thickness to work with here. So you're supposed to put them over these little square pads and push them down, but I found every time I do that and I try to close the case, sometimes they get dislodged and they shuffle around in there. So I don't love that. I wish maybe there was a pocket or a deeper recess. Maybe the filter would have to be a little bit deeper in that case to make that work, but I just think there's room for improvement in this case, mechanically speaking. Okay, up next is the ND16 filter. Okay, last filter at this location, we got an ND32. It's the darkest one, meant for the sunniest environments. We'll see how it does in this slightly lower light forested area. I gotta tune my quad. I can tell it's a little sloppy. All right. Set her down nicely. So let's go to the next spot. I have a spot in mind up the road a little bit. I wish it wasn't getting as sunny as it is here, because at the end you probably noticed the sun is coming out a bit more. So I hope that doesn't affect our results too much. I won't know, of course, until I review the footage later on the computer. But let's head up the street. Let's try to find some sun, some full sun, and we'll do the same test. Alright, internet friends, we are at the second location and my god, it's beautiful here. I love where I live. So, I'll take you over here so you can see the scenery. It's much brighter down that way. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna first take off and fly to my left, up by that curve there, and then we're going to go down that way till the first tree area you'll see in the flight. But it is considerably more windy up here because we're kind of in this little valley between two mountain peaks, so that won't affect the GoPro footage, but it might affect the flying a little bit, so I'm going to try and not hit anything. Let's do it. So just to recap, we will be doing the same exact test. We're going to start with no filter, all the same settings, then we're going to go to a CPL, the ND8, ND16, and finish with the ND32. So just a word of warning, with this first test here, and maybe with the CPL, with no filter, it's going to be really bright. So if you're sensitive to that kind of thing, you might want to skip until the next filter. Just a heads up. First test, no filter. My God, look at that wind. This might be a battle today. Next test is with the CPL filter. I really can't explain to you guys how windy it actually is right now. This is insane. It's so windy I have to land into the wind or else it'll send me off the cliff. It's like flying a plane. Okay, now it's time for the ND8 filter. Alright, moving on to the ND16 filter. Oh my God, the wind! Wow, nice. That was convenient, wasn't it? They always know the worst time to come. I was all ready to be upset, but those guys are so cool. I ended up talking to them for a while. I don't think the one even noticed that the drone flew right by him, but anyways, let's get this last filter done. I'm tired of being out here in the wind. All right, so I hope you enjoyed that little testing process, and especially at the end there, seeing them side by side. I hope you got something out of that. I know for me, it's been beneficial just to see what exactly these things do and why you need them. So my hope is that through this video, that need was uncovered. But what you really want to know is, do I recommend these or not? Well, I would say if you're just an FPV pilot, because again, this is only from an FPV pilot's perspective, I probably would recommend them. They're really easy to use, which I really like. They're relatively cheap in relation to other ND filters of the same quality level, and they seem to be a pretty decent build quality. So I would recommend them. Now, I do want to go over again some of the cons that I discovered while reviewing these. The first one, I really wish the mount this came with was like a full case, or at least something a little bit lower profile that I could fit in other existing cases. I don't love that because right now I would have to use it just on my naked GoPro, which means I wouldn't want to do much acro or many stunts or anything like that. You can of course get a mount that will fit this, but that's just, that's just another piece to get into, and it's doable. It's just, I think they could make it a little better for this mount so it would be more compatible with other mounts. The other thing I don't like really at all is the case. It just feels cheap, and there's like visible defects on it as you saw earlier, and it just, I don't know, it just feels cheap. And then in the case itself, I don't like how the filters fit in there. The little square pads that you put the filters over, it is kind of nice to somewhat hold them in place, but as I stated earlier, they're not quite tall enough or big enough to fit the filters over. So if I were to provide some feedback to them, I would say make a better way of holding those in there, because it's kind of a pain in the ass. They do tend to get dislodged and fall out when you're opening and closing the case. So it's not the best. And then the third thing I want to mention too is, it kind of goes along with my first point of the mount. They're not secured on the mount all that well. It's just a magnet. So again, with the acro stunts and all that, I don't know that I would just use these with this mount. I kind of would want something a little bit more secure. If you're thinking about doing this for freestyle, I would probably go ahead and get a TPU mount or some other mount that is made to accept ND filters. Otherwise, you could probably expect to maybe lose one or maybe break one or something like that. In conclusion, yeah, I'd recommend them. They seem to be pretty decent quality. There are a few cons, but I don't think they outweigh the pros. So if you're looking for some ND filters, go find the LENSKINS ones.